Well, happy fantastic Friday. Today we've got a major thing to talk about. It's an issue that, you know, it's almost like very few people really know. First, I'm going to say it, as far as just experience, I'm going to tell you the experiences that I have had and how, this is what the world is falling away from God. The world is falling away from Holy Spirit being our conscience, as well as being who we need so badly so we connect with what the Lord wants. Across the road, I'm going to fix this better. Across the road where I live, there's mammoth trees that needed to be cut. I've got a funny feeling they're going to put up better electric lines or what have you, because it looks like a utility crew is doing all of the tree cutting and cleaning up. Well, I have no qualms over that. I think it's a good idea that we get better lines, better hookups, because we do lose our power. Not often, but we do. So, okay, getting back to the actual intent. All right, well, for a couple of days they've been working. And it's directly across from my house. Well, because I've got a large parcel of acreage, there's only one access that they really need right now for coming into my property for the power. So they're working on things, and trees have been marked for months with this blue paint to alert whoever it was that would come in after the fact and cut the trees. So they're cutting trees, they're cleaning up, and I do have to admit, they're doing a fabulous job for actually getting in, cutting, cleaning up, and there is no aftermath. So I'm watching this happen, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I hope they're not going to block my driveway. Because in the past, they have. And we've got 3 driveways. And I don't know what it is about people, but they think, well, you have 3, give up 1. So, sure enough, yesterday, around 3:30, a huge truck. It was a boom truck. I don't know if any of you know what those are. Big utility boom truck. He backed into one of my driveways. And he sat there. And before I know it, he's walking across to where they're cutting the trees. Well, I'm thinking, should I ask him please to get out of my driveway? Because, I would like to use it. I'm sure if you had those driveways, you'd like to use it. And I'm thinking, I could never do that. First of all, here's my issue. Why can't somebody come knocking at my door and say, it's really hard to park these things on the side of the road. Is it okay if we use one of your driveways? Think about it. Would you have qualms? I have a choice of A, B, or C to tell them which one they can park in. So he just sat there, and about 5:30, 6 o'clock, lo and behold, the truck is leaving. Not a thank you, not a gee, I hope you didn't mind, this is what we did, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking all night long, whatever happened to, I know a lot of you don't live in, actual homes, because it is getting to where less people really want homes. They want condos or they want apartments. That's fine. But I'm a fanatic on having a lot of land. Always have been, and I always will. The more I can buy up, the happier I am. So, anyway, I'm thinking to myself, whatever happened to us feeling deep down inside how sacred other people's possessions really is? I was raised by old country style people, but it's logic too. I was raised that everybody's personal possession is valuable to them. You didn't earn it. You certainly didn't gift it to them. So let them have full rights and freedom to have that object or whatever it is. So nevertheless, I'm thinking to myself, well, it's probably 1 out of 1,000,000 times, that they're going to do it. He'll probably never do it again, blah, blah. You know how it goes. I always fight with myself. It's like that cartoon. I think it was Bugs Bunny. I can't remember. One of the angels is on one shoulder and the other shoulder's got another angel. They just fight like cats and dogs. I have that problem sometimes. So, anyway, this morning, I've been up since 4. No problem. I enjoy getting up like that. In fact, you missed it. Where I live, around 5:30, maybe it was 5, we had the most phenomenal sky that was so fuchsia, and it was so beautiful. And I thought, man, I got to go get my phone and take a picture. Well, by the time I went and got my phone, believe it or not, it was 100 shades lighter. So I missed that cue. But anyway, getting back to the boom truck, it was, I would say 8, maybe 8:30. My dog's barking like a maniac. And I'm thinking, what the heck is this? I looked outside and guess who's in my driveway? And I thought, this stinks. Not one word. Not, hey, lady, is it okay if we use your property? We promise we'll leave it just the way we got it. Yada, yada. So I stuck, which I probably frightened him because I hadn't combed my hair or anything because I got right into housework before I did anything with myself. But I thought, phooey on this. That's part of their punishment. They have to see me before I clean myself up. So I went outside and I'm yelling to the one guy. And I said, hey, is that your truck? I said, because it's almost mine. And he looked at me, he said, yeah. He said, we need to park there. And I said, I'll tell you when you need to park on my property. Now, mind you, I'm only 4'9", but I don't care. This guy was huge and grizzly looking. Who cares? So anyway, he said, he starts coming to me. And I teased my husband and I said, boy, good thing his name wasn't Jason carrying one of those chainsaws, But anyway, he starts walking to me. and he begins to try and talk over the huge chainsaws that are going on. And I said, I cannot hear you. And he said, well, I was going to come and talk to you about your truck. I mean, my truck. And I said, well, wouldn't that be nice? I said, now that I brought it up, I said, why can't you respect people? And he said, I'm not hurting anything. And he's beginning to yell at me. And I thought, you really take the cake. And I started laughing. I said, oh my gosh. I said, is this how you were taught when you were little? And I told him, I said, you were never line leader and you're pissed, right? And he got mad at me. I said, move your truck. Oh, he was really mad. I said, honestly, I'm the type of person. All you had to do is knock on my door and say, may we please use one of your driveways? I would have let you. And so he started turning around and walking away like I'm saying it's okay. And I said, no, you blew that one. I said, you've got to move your truck. Well, he began to lecture me about how it is not a thing of an issue over respect. And I just thought, I woke up in a different world. I'm sure I did. But honestly, think about the differences of the generations. Serious issue here, as far as I'm concerned. But then yet, as far as his generation, which I bet you he's 20 years younger, but his generation, they don't think anything of it. Nothing. And I think that's sad because we've got kids growing up in this atmosphere. We've got people that want to make a big darn deal over what you own, what they own, it's like, what has become of people? So absolutely narcissistic when you stop and think about how, you're not allowed to tell them that you would like to be respected over your personal property. Shame on you. And I'm kidding, but that's the way they are doing it now. And I don't get it. This is not the golden rule. This is not the way God asked us to be. I could think of 1,000,000 scriptures that would cover this. But you know what? When I stop and think about how God is appreciative towards us handing down life skills to where in the end we are respecting each other, and most of all, we have a great respect towards Him. Now that I bored you with a story like that, I do want to give you an update on that restaurant over at where my cabin is. Here's another issue, and the only reason why I'm tying this together is for one thing. This is another issue of respect. After I said to her, my hand's falling asleep, I'm sorry. After I said to them, I don't know if it's a he or she, I said, wouldn't it be nice if you did not serve potato chips with a beautiful Reuben? Wouldn't it be nice if you would not serve that person, $7.99 French fries? That they could just have some French fries with their sandwich. Oh, well, she's upset. I need to learn to mind my own business, and how she treats people is her business, blah, blah, blah. And then she proceeded to write me a message on Facebook Messenger and insisted that I was a Karen. When here I was looking out for the older people, the retirees, the people who've worked hard in that community, who have a passion towards each other in that community. Oh, they're wonderful people, simply wonderful. But for her to bash me, and she bashed me at least a dozen times before she stopped over Facebook Messenger. And I kept on saying, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be praying for you because you misunderstood. I'm looking out for these people that would love some fries with a sandwich. But by the time they are able to afford that sandwich with fries, it's almost $30. Fries and a sandwich and something to drink. Well, she also has the mentality that it's their fault if they want something to drink, that they could drink water. You know, that's not true. And so what I'm trying to say is that the respect for people, it's truly gone. And the compassion. I love that community where one of our cabins are at. Love it. But you know, I have noticed there's a lot of compassion there. A lot of loving people. And then when somebody like that sticks out like a sore thumb, it's sad. It's heartbreaking. Because bottom line, it's another respect issue. And you know, people, I guess I'm trying to say right now is this. Don't forget about respecting people. You don't know who you're disrespecting. You don't know what's happened to them. And you know, in all honesty, I have had the most heartbreaking, horrifying thing happen to me in the past week. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But I will tell you this. I have to stop and remember, who am I? And what value do I want to be connected to me? Am I on a mission to put a bad taste in people's mouth? No. Am I on a mission to really celebrate that because Holy Spirit's alive and well inside me, that's all the more that I can treat you well. And when I leave the room, you're feeling good about yourself. So that's what it all boils down to. I really hope you have a fantastic Friday. And you know what? The weekend's around the corner. And where I live, we finally got warm. Finally! I was ready to call 911 and report that somebody stole spring. But it's like 80 degrees, all within 24 hours, from like 40, 50, all the way to 80. So, you know, better late than never. So I really hope you're all blessed. And I pray for your protection. I pray for your loved ones. And always remember, respect one another. You don't have to like us, but at least respect. Okay. Well, my normal signing out. Be humble, be joyful, and be rapture ready. Bye.